Okay. And then once we get on there, I'll pause our.
So how many of us are? Just two of us?
Just you and I.
Oh my God, I thought that it was gonna be like more people. Okay.
No, this is an opportunity for us to go ahead.
So how many of us are? Just two.
There we go. So we are live. No, this is an opportunity so that everyone can get to know the individual authors. There will be an opportunity that we are going to bring together all of the authors of the Boss Latinas Anthology. But as we work our way up to that, we are going to be welcoming individual authors one-to-one. So we are live. So hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I am V. Vigil. I am a women's empowerment coach and CEO of the Empowerment Empire and the honored editor-in-chief of the Boss Latinas, the anthology. And I'm super excited. I'm super excited today because what we are doing is as we begin to schedule out our tour, our book tour of the anthology, we are going to be meeting with several of the authors on a consistent basis. So if you are interested in getting to know these amazing women a little bit more and know their personalities, which are all I love. And Dr. Marifé Méndez is nothing shy of an amazing personality, an amazing woman, an amazing personality, a great spirit. Someone every time we talk, every time I have the opportunity to get on Zoom with you, your energy is just always just so fun and so light and so pleasant and so fun. So I'm really excited to be able to have you on today. So the Boss Latinas Anthology. So this was a project that has been 2 years in the making. Definitely a project that I thought that this was going to take 6 months or so. We were going to get it published. It was going to be out there, wham, bam, done. And that is not really what happened. And I think what it was is like I wrote in the dedication in the book is here. Let me just read it so you all can see what you'll get in this. And it's a lot thicker than I was expecting. So I would like to acknowledge the extraordinary strength that every one of the forthcoming women have exhibited through their willingness to share their lives with us. Thank you all for sharing this amazing project with your communities and networks to get the word out about our groundbreaking anthology focusing on the lives of Boss Latinas. When I first decided to invite and feature amazing Boss Latinas to share their stories in an anthology, I thought it was going to be fairly straightforward. I put out a call for participants and my sisters would join me. I just knew that within 30 days, I would have 50 women willing to share their stories with the world to inspire our sisters and all of the future Boss Latinas of the world to go for their dreams, no matter what. Sisters, I can tell you that is certainly not what happened. My labor of love that is now this phenomenal book was also a bit of an uphill battle. Not a battle with my sisters, but a battle, I think, with our culture that tells us our voices are better left quiet, soft-spoken, and most certainly not ones to call attention to the injustices we have faced as women, as mothers, daughters, sisters, leaders, students, military veterans, and caretakers of our communities. In the end, we choose to speak up. This book is our testament to the fact that we can live the lives we so choose and share about it. This is our testament to our sisters that we can rise and we can overcome the injustices we have experienced. Through being open with you about our personal and collective success and the struggling setbacks that try to keep us down, we are claiming our place in our strong Latin cultures. By writing our stories for the world, we are choosing to replace the fear we may have once felt with the power we share as strong, valiant, exceptional Boss Latinas. And then, of course, thank you so much to Joe Welch, our dedicated assistant editor, for keeping me on track and moving forward through this journey. Your motivation, creative thinking, and diligence to the task cleared the clutter, and removed the stress over the final weeks of production. And I cannot thank you enough. During the final weeks of production of our book, I got sick with COVID. And as I laid in bed with Joe Welch on the other end of the phone, she, was like, what do we need to do, Behil, that we can get it to the printers? And thank the gods and goddesses of the world that she was there to help get us through those final stages. And so what I want to do is, as we are going forth in this process of meeting our authors and talking to them, if you have any questions for our authors, I would love to read them to them, and we'll also follow back up on this live stream to make sure that we do answer any of the questions that you may have. We've got a couple people who are commenting. Maribel says, hey. I will definitely keep an eye out on our comments in our Latina Entrepreneurs Jefas Unidas Facebook group, which we are live streaming in today. So without further ado, I would like to welcome one of our authors, Dr. Marifé Méndez. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation. And today I'm feeling light. I chose today to wear white because I wanted like my aura to kind of enlighten me, and I just wanted that feeling. And that's how I'm feeling right now.
It is. I love the color. I love the fabric, and I love your beads as well.
Yes, it's very zen.
I've been reading through our book, and as you know, and as many of the women in this group know, I read through every chapter, and every time I read through the chapters, I reread them before I speak to the authors, and it really sits you down and reminds you of the capacity that we have to really, wipe away the things and battle through and get through some of the things that try to prevent us from being who we are, from accomplishing these goals that we have decided are for us. I know, growing up for me, I've always had out of the box ideas. And I remember growing up, I've always been told, you can't do that. That's too crazy. You can't go here and you can't go there. You can't do all these things. That's just too much. And for me, there wasn't really a box to consider. It wasn't like I was trying to think outside the box. There just was no box. For me, it was just, this is a great big world. And how can I explore it and get to, explore myself along the way. So I would like to introduce you with sharing your bio. So within the book, if, as our readers, start collecting the amazing Boss Latinas Anthology, you will see that on one page, we have a bio with the photograph and the information for their businesses, as well as the logo of the organization for each specific author, and then their bio, and then we start their story. So I'd like to share with you Marifé Méndez's bio. So Dr. Marifé Méndez is an entrepreneur, digital marketing creator, public speaker, Amazon's best-selling author, an accomplished senior marketing communications professional with over 25 years of experience. She is the founder and CEO of Next Step Marketing, an innovative team of marketing professionals in her native San Juan, Puerto Rico, and also of her new venture, Dr. M Digital Marketing Services in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Marifé is passionate about digital marketing, diversity, and social media. She can be found in the most popular social media networks, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, but she is also a passionate public speaker with inspirational speeches like Why Women Need to Boss Up and soul rebel about trauma and life after breast cancer, Marifé knows how to connect with an audience. She had the opportunity to talk about some of these topics in the previous books that she co-authored: Women Who Boss Up in Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle, and Breaking the Glass Ceiling, Influential Women in Business. Both books were an incredible success and reached Amazon's bestseller status. In addition, Marifé is also an independent certified coach, teacher, trainer, and speaker with the John Maxwell team, and active member of the Arts of Speaking Toastmasters Club in Hollywood Beach, Florida. I love my Toastmasters clubs, just to put that out there. And then finally, Dr. Marifé Méndez has over 27 years of experience in academia and is currently adjunct faculty at Miami-Dade College Business School at Wolfson campus. You can find her on Facebook at marife.mendez.50 and on Instagram at Dr. Marifé Méndez and at TikTok at Marketing Doctor. I am so glad that we had the opportunity to get to know one another. You can find her contribution on page 131 of our Boss Latinas Anthology. And I just wanted to really touch base with our authors to talk to you and to have you share with us, what was the experience like when you were writing out your journey? And I know that as I've been contacted by several women who are wondering, when are we going to do the second edition? You know, and then there's so many women that are in our networks who have thought about writing their stories. So first, can you share with us what it was like to write your story? And then second, share with us a bit of advice that you would give to anyone who would like to write their own story.
Wonderful. Let's start with the first question. The experience of participating in this book, I have collaborated in the past in 2 other books, as you mentioned in my bio. Therefore, I come from the mentality that doing this in combination of other authors is actually much easier than going solo.
Yeah.
And all the experiences have been different. In the second book, that it actually created like a kind of a movement, the Boss Up series of books. There have been several of them. In that one, the book itself was an interview with the main publisher, the editor of the book. So it was that. Here, it was where I actually had the opportunity to make it my own story, not answering somebody else's questions with regards to something in specific, usually industry related. What have you done in marketing? What are other recommendations for entrepreneurs? Things like that. And I said, well, behind that, and especially because I have become a public speaker, I know the value of being able to share our story. For me, it has helped me heal and is part of my journey. And that's why I decided to do it this way. My chapter is very emotional. I told you that I almost wanted to cancel last minute because I was like, I don't know if I'm sharing too much, right? And you said, no, I've been touched. And we had that wonderful conversation that I said, okay, Marifé, you know, let's just do this. Let's trust the process. And it really helped me to put my voice out there for the first time in the way I wanted to. And that it's very valuable. And that is the number one reason why I did participated in this project the way that I did. With regards to recommendations, I believe is the second question. Can you remind me? Yes, about doing books.
About because there are so many women who I know within our networks and maybe here, you know, who are listening to this conversation, who want to start writing their own story.
Right.
If you could share, so in the process of me helping many of our authors to get their stories out there, we had a lot of writing guides available to you. We created for those of you that don't know, who are not authors in this particular book, we created a private Facebook group that was for all of our authors. And within that group, I was posting and created writing guides that helped us to move through our chapters. Essentially, it was take a look at your life and determine what part of it or what pieces of your life do you want to share. And then the formation of a story from deciding what pieces that you want to share. How did you sort of lay your thoughts out? Because I could talk about how, you know, I recommend people to write their stories, but how did that go for you on deciding what you wanted to talk about and then actually getting it down on paper in a cohesive way that had a nice flow to it?
Yes, thank you for reminding me that, because as we were speaking, I really forgot about that, which is obviously so important. You provided, as you well said, a lot of good guidance. And I remember that the first document that you sent us, it was quite like an invitation to open your creativity and your mind to go back in time and think about things that were relevant, that we remember, and it made it much easier to say, wait a minute, I remember that my dad taught me from a very young age that in order to make money, you had to work, because every time that I asked him for a couple of dollars, he said, yeah, but you have to do this first, whatever that was, you know, help me clean my car, help me clean my office, whatever it was. And I get that those are important lessons that I understood from a very young age. And so that may be the case of a beautiful story related to my dad. In the book, I think that the elements that you provided really, especially Facebook, the group, everybody trying to support each other, hey, where you are, if anybody needs help, that was very, very nice. And I really appreciate that, because it's important. Sometimes we get stuck, and it's also a great way of finding the information. I also thought it was very informational. This is where we are. This is what's happening. It also served as an inspirational tool. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
So I want to touch on how Marifé shares her story. A lot of the authors in the book have very different ways of telling their stories. One of the authors, I did an interview with her. And so the interview was then transcribed from our recording, and then it was reviewed by myself and reviewed by the author, and then included in the book. Some stories were written in first person, some stories were written in third person, some stories had different sections to them. And for Marifé's story, she starts off with the early years, and makes a conscious decision to break up her story. And I think what is really helpful to the reader, from the early years, she notes family history and living in fear. And I I had to laugh at this part when everyone puts on their best clothes for church, but going to church every week was boring. You stand and you sit, you kneel. That reminds me of my childhood. So I was raised Catholic, and today I consider myself a Native American spiritualist and a follower of Buddhism, and a follower of world religions. However, when I was a young child, I was raised Catholic, and we went to Catholic church. And I recall very vividly the exercise that you would get during Mass, because Mass wasn't short, and we would be there like at least 2 hours, sometimes longer, depending on the day. And it was like kneel, stand, sit, kneel, stand, sit, kneel, stand, sit. And it was just, so when I
then to me it was adding the fact that we were wearing what felt for me the most uncomfortable clothes, your nice outfit, that it has to be like so perfect, and you have to be so careful, and it's like, get me out of here.
So you're not only wearing these clothes that you can't mess up, but you're also getting on your knees, and then you're sitting back down, and then you're standing. And then for a young child, that is not easy to do. So that is just kind of one brief moment where, when I'm reading these stories, and that particular point in, Marifé's story, it took me back to my own personal experience. It really made me, reflect on, what was my life in those early years. And I think that's something that we get to do when we read anthologies, when we read biographies, is that we get to really relate to, how does this author take me back and help me to reflect on my own life? And I think that's what makes a great story, is something that reminds you of your own lived experience. And then, of course, she moves on. Here comes trauma. And a lot of the stories in the Boss Latinas Anthology share trauma. And I intentionally encouraged a lot of our authors to go there. Not that I wanted a book full of trauma, but what I really wanted was a book that shared traumatic experience, but really shared our willingness to be open and not hide about it, because no one deserves to experience trauma. Bad things happen to good people. And I think what is one of the most powerful things that come from that is what do we do to get ourselves out of it? As someone who has lived through trauma myself on multiple different levels throughout my life, what we do to get ourselves out of it, whether it is based on survival or based on something we learned. In hindsight, the way that we share how we dealt with our trauma, I think is really empowering to people who might be in the thick of it right now. I encourage a lot of our authors to feel inspired to talk about their experience, because there's going to be someone out there that can relate. And that, I think, is so important when someone is dealing with trauma, is to know that you are not alone, and that there are so many of us who have experienced grave difficulties in life. And as women who have decided to share our stories, and why we include all of our contact information within the book, is so that if you are experiencing a traumatic situation, or you are going through working through your trauma and you feel alone, reach out. Reach out to me, reach out to any of the authors that have included their contact information in the Boss Latinas Anthology, because I think one of our really big goals with this is to create community and to connect one another. So that is what I will say on that. And then we talked about, or you wrote, "No wonder I became a rebel." And I liked how you laid that little highlighting line out there. My love for freedom as a kid evolved into a love for freedom of expression as a teenager. I allowed my creativity to grow, constantly experimenting, writing short stories, poems, songs, movie scripts. I experimented with photography, with art. Today, I am awestruck at how my daughter's generation is so open to different expressions of gender and sexuality. While culture was changing back in the 80s, things were very different. And the truth is, I didn't know anyone who made or said that they were openly gay. I have been meeting so many phenomenal women in my life, phenomenal women and men and non-gender identifying individuals who are so brave and have the ability to be very open about their sexuality today within a culture, or within lots of cultures who are still working on their acceptance levels. It just blows me away every day. And I am so thankful and willing to have been one of those who have gone through the struggle of, being, open about sexuality and not fearful of it. And so I thank you for also mentioning that in your story.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur. So I am so thankful. We go from the entrepreneur to my inspiration, the glass ceiling facing women in the workplace. You've got to read this story. Breaking through the glass ceiling, why society needs women now, visualization and success. The visualization has already started. Looking back and moving forward, and I'm still standing. And then that song is totally stuck in my head. I'm still standing. So tell me, through all of those experiences and through the experience of writing them down and reflecting, how was that for you?
It was a process that I had already in my mind certain ideas, and this project was the realization of that. Was like, okay, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna do this. And I had worked previously on some of the sections, on some of the in my way of thinking were like chapters. And I was kind of working on different chapters. I just realized I don't need a full chapter of any of this. I'm just basically, sharing a lot the way it is. And I'm grateful to a certain degree that we had the extra time, because it allowed me to go back and review it. And I'm happy with the end result. It was updated and even better.
Yeah, absolutely. We had an opportunity for all of our authors to go back through the book one more time, and we received a lot of updates. So everything that is in the current edition of the book, is very, very, relevant today. It's very up to date. If you are trying to learn more about how so many of these authors, function as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a business professional, their contact information, you will be able to reach out to them. I have posted in the comments as well the author's profile document. So as I showed you previously, like for example, here's another one of our authors. For their author's page, what we have done is created an entirely separate document, so that if you go to magistra.us /Boss Latinas Anthology, you can download the PDF that has all of the author bio pages, where you can reach out to the authors, where you could check out their websites and learn more about them, while you're reading through the book. This was a true honor for me, Marifé. It was so great
Thank you.
to meet you, to get to know you, and to have you participate in our book. You can also buy our book on Amazon. You can get it through our website as well. Our goal now is to start with our book tour. So, from California, from the East Coast, from the West Coast to the East Coast of the United States for now. And then we'll see how far outside of the US we'll go as well. If you are watching this video and you would like to reach out and have us consider a book tour in your area, please do so. So our goal is to be, going to visit where so many of our authors are located, so we can host a book tour and you can come and meet the authors and get them to sign their chapters. We are already scheduled for our first book tour location, and that is going to be on October 14th in Las Vegas at our Business Women of Diversity Fall Power Luncheon. So if you are anywhere within the area or are able to fly in to join us, look for details. I'll post those details here in this live stream as well, so that you can join us to meet some of the authors. And the goal is for at least every other month, or definitely once a quarter, to be having a book signing, if not even monthly, depending on the availability of some of our authors. So we'll definitely be reaching out to you, Marifé, about seeing when you're—
Absolutely, I love it.
To do a book signing. And thank you so much for joining me today. If any of you out there listening have any questions about the Boss Latinas Anthology, or how to get in contact with any of the specific individuals who are featured within the book, please let me know. Please reach out. I would be more than happy to help direct you into the right place. So for that, have a fantastic Thursday, everybody. If you haven't already bought your book, order your book on Amazon, get it by Saturday. Have some fantastic reading material over the weekend. And I will look forward to seeing you all again very soon when we feature our next Boss Latinas Anthology author profile. With that, with Dr. Marifé Méndez, my name is Vigil Vigil. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. And thank you, Marifé.
Thank you. Thank you so much.